Hi, I'm Shorty, and if you were born with your sun in Aquarius, then this video is for you. If you were born between January 21st and February 19th, then you are an Aquarius. Aquarius may be the sign of the water bearer, but Aquarius is no water sign. Aquarius belongs to air and thus to thought, philosophy, and intellect. Aquarians have plenty of sensitivity and passion, but they believe emotion should be the servant, not the master of the heart. Thus, Aquarians seek to help us all treasure and cherish the gift of objectivity. I am reading from the complete book of the Zodiac, so let's see what else it says for all of you Aquarians out there. If you need expert advice, ask an Aquarian. No matter what the subject, you can be sure your Aquarian friend will venture a definitive answer. 9 times out of 10, the answer will be informed and accurate. It's the 10th time you should watch out for. Then, though the comments may be delivered to you with equal confidence, they'll be perilously wrong. How can you tell? You can't. Aquarians don't consider themselves capable of error, so they give no clues. Only if you try to allow the advice will you find it fallible. If you then go back and confront your Aquarian with the evidence, you may get a humble apology, but you're more likely to get a pompous excuse. So, if you are to get along with them, you will need a good sense of humor and a slightly skeptical nature. Aquarians are what they are. They can't be changed, so you must learn to love them for it. It's worth doing because Aquarian assets far outnumber Aquarian faults. Aloof, know-it-all, and self-important they may be, but they are also generous, considerate, and extraordinary. There's nothing dull or predictable about an Aquarian. They're far-sighted idealists, humanitarian philosophers, and open-minded thinkers. Once you've gotten used to their odd ways, you'll find their friendship irresistible and their company addictive. If you want to give an Aquarian a special treat, remember that they're attracted to unusual ideas, eccentric people, and innovative objects. Show them you recognize their special powers of discrimination. They'll love you for it. Home. Aquarians feel most comfortable in a home with a nice garden. Aquarians are quirky, quarrelsome, and querulous. You hate lines, detest crowds, and love to assert your individuality. You wouldn't want to live anywhere you would consider run-of-the-mill, unless of course it was an odd, abandoned watermill. That or a converted railway carriage would suit you fine. Even if circumstances, financial or otherwise, don't allow this home still extends to be a museum of self-expression. It's certainly a tribute to the art of experimentation, for there is something that almost works, but doesn't quite, in every room. Your ideal house number is probably 911 for the state of emergency you so often live in. Clothes. The politest way to describe the Aquarian color sense would be creatively individualistic. Although you can be outrageous in many ways, you're surprisingly conventional when it comes to clothes. I would even go so far as to say restrained, but then financially at least that's not quite true. You have expensive taste and a keen eye for quality. You would far rather own a few excellently made suits than an entire wardrobe of discount clothes. On special days and holidays, you'll parade with panache in fashionable, even futuristic outfits. But for everyday wear, you'll prefer to find one basic formula and stick to it. For many Aquarians, This will involve knitwear. You're fond of natural materials like cotton and leather, but you have a special preference for wool. Cars. The following dialogue sums up the Aquarian approach to driving. Judge, you are accused of going the wrong way on a one-way street. What do you say? Aquarian, I was only going one way. Judge, but didn't you see the arrows? Aquarian, arrows? I didn't even see the Indians. Your copy of the driving code contained little footnotes, which the printers carelessly omitted to place in other copies. For example, never drive through a red light, unless you feel like it, or don't pass on the right, unless you're in a hurry. Only one thing is more idiosyncratic than your driving, your choice of car. It must be a make that nobody else has heard of, and a model that no repair shop can get parts for because A, you're fussy, and B, more than anything, you love to be exclusive. Food. Aquarians love to experiment with new recipes and dishes. How these actually taste is of secondary importance to their potential value as a talking point. You're truly a typical Aquarian if you adore eating out. Indian one night, Chinese the next, Italian the night after, and French the night after that. The more obscure and eclectic the cuisine, the better, because arguably you enjoy the discovery of new tastes and textures more than the actual process of eating. Unlike some people, you rarely eat for succour and emotional comfort. Indeed, because you're terribly fussy, you almost rather go hungry than settle down to eat a boring meal. Money. Money is like a sixth sense, without which you cannot make a complete use of the other five. The writer, Somerset Maugham, who made the memorable remark above, was an Aquarian, and to me his statement reveals a lot about a very specific Aquarian tendency. Few and far between are the people born under your sign who pursue money for its own sake. As an Aquarian, you may be shrewd, you may be successful, and you may even have expensive tastes, but you are not, unless I am very much mistaken, Aquarius. To you, money is indeed a sixth sense. Just as you do not actively seek to develop your intuition, you simply expect it to be there when you need to call on it, so you tend to take financial gain for granted. It comes naturally when you're doing the right thing, just as an inspired idea or smart hunch might do it. Your instincts, of course, are pretty good, and so are your potential money-making abilities. Both, however, work best when you're not really trying. In other words, when they appear as a side effect of trying to accomplish another goal altogether. You must be aware, however, of a tendency to let your generosity and compassion get the better of you. These laudable qualities can sometimes place an enormous burden on your resources. Should this prove to be an ongoing problem, change the nature of your charitable activities. See them not as sideline, but as integral in your overall game plan. Explore the possibility of doing professionally an aspect of what you're already doing voluntarily. You'll find an opportunity opens up just almost as soon as you're in a frame of mind to see it. You'll also find a general economic trend becomes extremely positive. Just the job? Actor, art dealer, aviator, broadcaster, civil rights campaigner, community organizer, computer consultant, congressperson, counselor, electrician, faith healer, furniture designer, inventor, laser technician, lighting specialist, mechanic, navigator, psychotherapist, recording studio engineer, social worker, telecommunications worker. 5 ways to cash in. Stop trying to do it yourself to save cash. You'll only end up having less time on your hands to do the things that matter. Swallow your pride and accept other people's suggestions. Make friends with a wealthy person who likes helping you. Stop trying so hard to keep up with the Joneses. Don't throw good money after bad. 5 ways to branch out. Invest in a better mousetrap. Teach your skills to others. Open a charm school. Become a movie critic. Become a top-level, high-ranking government advisor. Love. Aquarians can be charming and seductive when romance first blossoms. They know how to use any trick in the book to capture your heart. Aquarians are traditionally reputed to be aloof, detached, and unemotional. If only it were true. Although Aquarians tend to be supremely confident about what they know, what they believe, and what they want to accomplish, many people born under your sign find this natural sense of certainty tends to desert them when asked to quantify what they actually feel. Because they don't like having to confess to doubt at any level under any circumstance. They will go to great lengths to disguise their confusion. They will make unconvincingly empathetic statements, or else they will appear as non-committal as possible, hoping they can fob off requests for emotional assurance with the excuse they never talk about things like that. You may notice so far I have deliberately been depersonalizing my suggestions about how to make your love last forever. I've given you an option of assuming I am describing other people born under your sign, but not you. Ultimately, it's a question of if the shoe fits. But while you decide whether it does, may I make another potentially confrontational comment in the softest possible terms. The great psychologist Carl Jung was a firm believer in the idea that when a person finds another irritating or difficult to be with, it's because the second person's fault reminds the first person of the things they most dislike about themselves. And now, we really must depart from the realm of theoretical and impersonal. What I am trying to tell you gently and discreetly, because I know that is an Aquarian, you despise and detest the very notion of being offered advice, is this: if you want to get along better with the person you are now with, or ever find yourself with in the future, you must look at what it is about them that you cannot tolerate. And you must ask yourself not how they might possibly change in time, but how you might. And that's how you'll be able to make your love last forever. A sideways look at your sign. Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac and lies opposite Leo in the celestial circle. Many people falsely believe that Aquarius is a water sign. This is largely because the symbol for Aquarius is the water bearer. An elegant male or female figure carries an earthen vessel. The confusion is compounded by the fact that sometimes artists illustrate Aquarius with a simple picture of water being poured from a jug. That's a shame because central to the symbol of this sign is a figure of a human who has traveled the fountain of eternal wisdom and is now carrying a precious burden of knowledge and understanding. If it is the person, not the jug, which is the focal point of the sign, the content of the jug may be liquid because it represents lofty concept. It more properly belongs to the element of air. This is the same reason Libra and Gemini are also air signs. People born under all the analytical, intellectual air signs tend to think their way through life, and they often place more importance on the big ideas than on feelings and actions. Aquarian is also a fixed sign. There are 4 fixed signs in the zodiac. The other 3 are Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus. Although those signs are very different, people born under them tend to be set in their ways. The fixed air sign of Aquarius tends to produce people who use their intelligence at all times, but who find it hard to change their minds about anything. Astrologers believe that every object or idea can be cataloged under one zodiac sign. Here is a list of things ruled by Aquarius: altruism, ankles, aviation, batteries, blood circulation, broadcasting, clubs, colleagues, cooperatives, Cyprus, electricity, exploration, frankincense, friends, gas, hope, humanitarianism, inventions, and Iran. January, kinesthetic energy, legislation, modernization, motors, novelty, opals, organizations, paradoxes, parliaments, pilots, progress, radar, radio, reform, revolution, Russia. Salt, sapphires, science, shins, society, spasms, stereos, technology, television, wishful thinking, and x-rays. Aquarians hope for a chance to make themselves useful, especially to others. A world in which everyone is happy and healthy, a glamorous and exciting social life, and a place in history as a person who made a brilliant, unique, and unforgettable contribution to their environment. Aquarians fear public embarrassment, private conflict, emotional blackmail, boredom, repetition, and commonplace, social ostracism, family gatherings, compromises, and financial failure. Aquarians like to be one step ahead, to be different, to argue over fine points, to show people how to do things, to be given an intellectual challenge, and to be generous. Aquarians are simple souls at heart, though most of them will never admit it. They like to give you the impression that they are complex, mysterious, and confident. That's partly why they are misunderstood. They don't really mind because it means that the only people who get close to them are those who perceive enough to penetrate the surface. If you want to learn how to spot an Aquarian on first meeting, look for someone who lets slip a strong, probably controversial opinion shortly after the conversation begins. It won't be delivered in a challenging way, just in a sort of offhand and very knowledgeable manner. If you want to disarm Aquarians, ask them to explain something to you and look interested while they go through all the endless details. If you want to annoy an Aquarian, ask how they feel. And if you want to know what all Aquarians have in common, the answer is nothing except keen desire to be individuals, which is why many Aquarians dislike astrology. They hate being lumped together with other Aquarians. So if you are an Aquarius, I hope that you found this video helpful, and I hope you take the time also to check out your Moon and Venus sign. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I want to let all of you know that I love you.